I have been waiting for this one. Good morning, YouTube. What's up, everybody? I hope you're safe and healthy and happy and doing okay. Before we get started today on the video, I do want to ask you guys, if you don't already follow me on Instagram, to please follow me there at RunLikeKeller. I'm trying to get to 10K followers. I'm kind of almost there. But if you could help me out, I really appreciate it. I post reels, I post more shoe content, all that fun stuff. So if you like running shoes, you like this channel, hit follow. Thank you. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about today is Hoka as a brand. About a decade ago, they became super popular for having maximalist max cushion shoes that a lot of other brands just did not have at the time. It was sort of when that minimalist movement was dying down a bit and everybody started forgetting about that and turning to the complete opposite end of the spectrum with as much cushion at the time as you could get under your foot. And other brands started to copy those max cushion shoes. Fast forward a few years and all of these other brands also had max cushion shoes, and we were starting to see them incorporate different types of foams, PEBA-based foams, nitrogen-infused foams, that sort of thing, and Hoka really wasn't doing that. And then as the carbon-plated racer trend started to blow up, we saw these other brands using carbon plates in their shoes and also utilizing these new special foams. And Hoka really wasn't using any special foam. They were still using EVA. So while they did make carbon-plated racers, they just did not compete with the other shoes on the market. The main complaint about Hoka has been that they need to step up their game in both the foam area of things and their marathon carbon plated racer side of things as well. Well, the good news is I think they have finally entered the scene here with the Hoka Rocket X2. This is a real super shoe. The question is, how does it feel to run in? Well, we're gonna answer that today. I have 20 miles in this shoe so far. I've put it to the test, so we'll go through all of the details. But first, of course, you have to watch the running footage. Hit it. Before we get started today, I do want to let you know that this shoe was sent to me by Hoka. However, they're not going to see this before you. They can't tell me what to say, and all of my opinions are always my own. Let's begin, as always, with the upper of the Rocket X2. Here we have like a ripstop synthetic mesh. It does remind me a bit of something like the Vaporfly Next% from Nike. It's extremely lightweight. In the midfoot, while they're minimal, there are some overlays for structure. And if we go to the back, the heel counter is pretty flimsy. Kind of just flops right down. Flop, flop. So in my experience, this upper is pretty breathable. I know Kofuzi ran in this shoe in Miami and he said that it was a little bit hot, and obviously I haven't experienced this shoe in hot climates just yet. But here in New York in March, I have felt some wind passing through the forefoot of this shoe. The tongue is extremely minimal. It is gusseted. It's basically just a thin piece of fabric here. And as you can see, the heel counter of this shoe is pretty thin. It does have the padding inside of the ankle collar of the shoe. I have really no issues with this upper, but while we're talking about this back area, the one issue I do have is that I feel the top of this heel counter, this little part right here, I feel that on my Achilles. And I wonder if I didn't wear a long sock, which I have not yet worn a short sock in this shoe, I wonder if it would cause some irritation, because it 100% sits on my Achilles, and even in the middle of my runs once in a while, I'll feel it there. If you've been watching my videos long enough, you know that I really don't like ankle collars like this for that reason. So just something to think about when purchasing this shoe, if that's something that also bothers you. Turning the shoe this way, it's fairly narrow here, but it does open up quite a bit in the forefoot. I have plenty of room. I think the shoe is pretty true to size. My foot feels very comfortable in the upper, nice and roomy, but not overly so. And as far as getting a good lockdown, I think these laces do a just fine job. They don't cut into the top of my foot. I cinch them down nice and tight, and I don't really have to think about it otherwise. So overall, I like this upper, but this could be a big problem, especially going longer. I wonder if taking this for like a half marathon or marathon distance would cause a bloody Achilles. Hopefully not. In the midsole of the Rocket X2, Hoka is using a PEBA-based foam. Finally! Here you go, Hoka lovers. Here's your PEBA shoe right here. And sandwiched in between the layers of foam, we have a carbon fiber plate. Hoka says they've reworked this plate to make it even more propulsive and aggressive for a better toe off. When it comes to carbon plated shoes like this, for me, what I'm looking for is comfort and propulsiveness. I really want to be comfortable, so I can also utilize these kinds of shoes in workouts and not just for race day. And in my time with this shoe, the 20 miles I have in it, I have felt like it is extremely comfortable. This shoe sits a little bit lower to the ground than some of the other carbon plated shoes out there. But make no mistake, this shoe is not super firm. You're still getting a plush cushion feel. It's just a little bit different. It's less fluffy than some of the other kind of PEBA-based foams that I've felt before. It is certainly reactive and responds really well to what you're doing with your stride. That plate sensation is very prominent. It feels almost like a spoon, and like your foot is just rolling right forward, which is a sensation that I feel obviously in other carbon plated shoes, but here specifically, I felt it quite a bit, and not in an aggressive, harsh way. They managed to make this shoe feel really fast, but also comfortable, which is great. So on Tuesday, I took this shoe out and I did a workout of half mile on, half mile off. And on the half mile on, I just went as fast as I could to see what this shoe could do. When I would start to pick up the pace in those half miles, I felt like this shoe was going faster than my legs almost. That's not true, but it felt that way. It was aiding me and really helping me get a little bit faster of a pace going. And then during the half miles that were like the rest period, I didn't feel like this shoe felt awkward to me in my stride. Even though I was going slower, it didn't feel like it couldn't handle that. In fact, it felt fine and still very comfortable. And then the next day, or the next time I ran in the shoe, I did an 8-mile run at sort of like an up-tempo pace. So not exactly like max pace, not exactly easy, sort of in the middle there. And this was such a joy to run in. I can't say enough good things. Like, it felt so good. There's no doubt in my mind that I could easily take this shoe up to at least a half marathon distance. I want to take this shoe on some double-digit runs to see if I could handle putting it through the paces for a marathon. It does make me overpronate slightly. I wouldn't say it's the most stable shoe out there, but it's not terrible, just something to be aware of. It doesn't cause me any discomfort or anything like that. But I think this certainly packs a punch and 100% competes with the other super shoes. This is finally what Hoka needed to get back on the map, like officially. They have great shoes, but they needed something like this, and here it is. This is the competitor. Turning the shoe over this way, you'll see that Hoka has placed some rubber in the most common landing zones. You have some in the forefoot and in the back by the heel. I've had no issues with this rubber so far. It's holding up really well. I feel like it grips onto the pavement just fine. And it feels to me like it's gonna be pretty durable. I know some super shoes kind of have not so great rubber because they want to cut the weight down, but I think that they managed to give you some high quality rubber here while still keeping the shoe pretty lightweight. The Hoka Rocket X will be available for $250 on March 15th. When it does become available on runningwarehouse.com, I will put a link in the description of this video so you can click that and pick up your own pair. Just keep in mind that is an affiliate link with Running Warehouse. However, it doesn't mean much for you. It just helps out my channel so I can keep talking about shoes to all of you. An expensive price for sure, one that not everyone's gonna wanna shell out the money for, but I think if you are in the market for a super shoe, you understand that they are on the pricier side and you're looking for something a little different than what's currently out on the market, this is where you should look. Honestly, I was skeptical. I don't get along with every super shoe out there, and super shoes are not like my first choice of type of shoe to gravitate towards when I want to go for a run. But I'll tell you, when I laced this up and took it out on that first run, I knew that the Rocket X2 and I were gonna get along just fine. I have a 15K coming up next week, and this will definitely be the shoe that I race in. This truly blows every other carbon plated shoe that Hoka has ever made right out of the water. And I'm excited for you guys to give it a shot as well. Well, everyone, that concludes my first run impressions of the Hoka Rocket X2. If you enjoyed this video, please like it down below and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, hit the notifications bell so you can find out every time I upload a new video. And I love this color. So cool. I have another video for you next week, but in the meantime, get out there, get on the grind, and don't forget to run like heller. See you next time. Love that. Love that sound. Knock knock, who's there? Hello?